He had a good day today, Wout van Aert.
He
in
did.
the break
He
again.
did.
And this really is where we always see Wout come good, 10 days into a Tour de France or any Grand Tour. And I'd be interested to see what he's got in his bag for the next few stages, actually, because I think Wout's coming good. We've seen him the last few days, second on that stage the other day. And if you remember, the last time we went on to Hotekam, who cracked Tadej Pogacar? It was Wout van Aert, wasn't it?
Wout van Aert, yeah.
I'm the 2012 Tour de France winner, Sir Bradley Wiggins.
And I'm Johan Bruyneel. I directed my teams to 9 Tour de France victories. Welcome to the Sir Wiggo and Johan Show, our daily show where we dive deep into the tactics behind every stage of the Tour de France.
Welcome back to our show, everybody. As every day, presented by Ketone IQ. We're talking about stage 11 of this year's Tour de France. And a stage which had some difficulties at the end, but normally there was nothing going to happen for GC. It was almost not the case. Bradley, what is your main takeaway of today's stage?
The takeaway of today is probably the crash of Tadej Pogacar. Outside of the 4 or 5 kilometer cut-off time rule. But it's something we very rarely see is Tadej on the floor. And he was the only one to go down. Bit of a strange crash. It looked from the overhead shot like he had one hand on the bar and he was going to his radio or something. And then obviously the Uno X rider come across to follow an attack and just cut him off. And he went down and he was lucky he didn't hit his head on that curb, but he did hit his shoulder pretty heavy. But he was up quick. His bike was pretty bent and struggled to get his chain on a little bit. But then, of course, the whole question arose as to whether Visma should have profited from that and rode to the finish to put time into him, which they didn't. And I'm glad they didn't, because I don't think that's the best way to go about things. I don't think that would have looked good for them. But that's my main take of the day.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think we saw a great stage, but that's obviously something that it could have impacted the rest of the Tour de France.
Yeah.
Before we go into more detail, I want to talk about our first partner of the day, Join Cycling. Join is the #1 training app that puts a professional cycling coach right into your back pocket. You don't need a big goal to benefit from training. Join helps you to stay fit, focused, and consistent even when there's no event in sight. Join keeps it interesting with challenges, variety, and smart progression. With over 400 World Tour level workouts for road, mountain bike, gravel, Join Cycling creates personalized training plans to adapt to your schedule and performance in real time. It recalibrates whenever you miss a workout. It prevents overtraining before it even starts. Designed by experts with World Tour level experience, Join helps cyclists of all levels maximize their progress while avoiding overtraining. Whether you're training for your first century, your next race, or you just want to be stronger when you ride, Join makes professional level coaching accessible to everybody. Join is your #1 cycling training app, and you can now test it 30 days for free. You go to join.cc/themove, and you get 30 days free access to the Join app. Try it out. I'm trying it out. It works amazing. Bradley, so the stage of today, Toulouse, a loop, flatter beginning. What do we see straight away? Oh, first of all, before that, the stage starts after the rest day. Something funny I read or I heard in an interview, and I know you guys talked about it on the move. Our rest day is still the same. I think they're not. Obviously, it's always an opportunity to have the family around. Wout van Aert did an interview, and he said that on the rest day, he rode a bit, and then he went with his 2 kids and his wife to visit the Airbus Museum in Toulouse. It's very famous. I'm in Toulouse actually right now, so when I came in, I saw all these huge planes. They're all over the place. So that's quite unique, I would think. It's not ideal to do on a rest day.
I used to live near there when I signed professional when I was 20 years old after the Olympics in Sydney. Sean Yates was the director and the manager of Linda McCartney, and I signed with them, and I moved to Toulouse. And I was training with Pete Rogers and a few other guys that were down there that were Dave McKenzie and all those guys. Good days. And then the team was empty, and I had to drive back in my Ford Fiesta back to London, and that was it. But I used to train down there because at that time Stuart O'Grady was living down there, Magnus Backstead, Jay Sweet, all those guys, you know, and it was a bit of an Anglophone hub for riding. Yeah. But it's interesting that you say that he did that on the rest day. He had a good day today, Wout van Aert.
He did.
The break again.
Did.
And this really is where we always see Wout come good, 10 days into a Tour de France or any Grand Tour. And it'd be interested to see what he's got in his bag for the next few stages, actually, because I think Wout's coming good. We've seen him the last few days, second on that stage the other day. And if you remember, the last time we went on to Hautacam, who cracked Tadej Pogacar? It was Wout van Aert, wasn't it?
Wout van Aert, yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, and today he was in contention for the stage win. He said after the stage that he felt he had spent too much energy to try to go in many, many moves before, and then finally these 5 strong riders went, on the attack or on the counter attack. We're going to get into that a little bit later. But what we did see, which is quite unique, is number 1 and 2 of today's stage are the 2 guys that went at kilometer 0. We had Yonas Abrahamson and Maro Schmidt. Finally, they were 5 guys. It looked like they were gone. But then some things happened in the peloton. There was several times there was a split, which was kind of unexpected, no?
I also heard there was quite a few raised eyebrows when Abramson was the first attack of the day, and people were kind of mocking him, saying, "Oh, look at this guy. What's he doing?" I mean, at the end of the stage, he's the winner. It just shows you, doesn't it, how... And again, the speeds we saw were very high. Today, again, over 50 kilometers an hour average speed for the whole stage.
Really? Over the whole stage?
Yeah. So it's 30 miles an hour average speed again today. It was so a quick one as well. And you know, it was teed up as a sprint stage today. I don't think there was anything about that was a sprint
Not
stage.
even close. I mean, no
Jonathan
chance.
Milan was trying to get into the break early on.
Yeah.
And he's now got quite a comfortable lead now in the green jersey competition. But I mean, when that second group, that was a group of hitters, wasn't it? You know, Quinn Simmons,
Wout van Aert,
Mathieu van der Poel. And they just couldn't close that 30 seconds. We spoke about it on the main show, Johan, as to why a group like that couldn't get under 29 seconds and come back on those guys. And George made a good point that, the guys that saw Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel in that group, they wouldn't have been pulling 100% because they're like, right, if we get across there, these guys are still going to beat us.
Yeah.
So it's always, they had to do the bulk of the work. And we saw when Van der Poel went then how much time he took on that descent. He came straight back to 16 seconds and then just couldn't close that last bit. But you saw an interview with Mathieu, didn't you? And you had another reason as to how he felt about it.
I mean, you're right. And I think it's always the case. Like in any breakaway, if you're 1 or 2 riders, the strong riders, the favorites, it's very difficult to win from that breakaway. Especially if there's, if there's 10 riders in a breakaway. We saw it the other day, when Van der Poel was in the break. He was the favorite. He had to do the majority of the work, and finally he cramped. So. But I think George has a really good point. It was about Van Aert and Van der Poel and these other 3 riders, good riders, Arnaud Delis, Axel Laurence, and Quinn Simmons, really strong guys. But I would probably do the same. I say, okay, I pull 80% or 75% of my capabilities and especially with the way the stage was designed today with that steep climb. You would be crazy, but it also speaks to the credit of those first 5 guys, the first 5 attackers. I mean, they have gone. I mean, they were not skipping a turn. And if you look at Abrahamson, Maro Schmidt, Ballerini, who was the other guy? Fred Wright, and I'm forgetting the other guy now. I don't remember who the other guy was. There was an Astana guy. I forgot now. But yeah, I mean, it was initially when you see those 5 riders, those 5 big guns coming, you say, okay, I think it was like a minute, 50 seconds, 45 seconds. It's just a matter of time. But they went from kilometer 60 to kilometer 20 to close 30 seconds. And then it stayed at 20 seconds all the time. And what I found out actually, Bradley, after the stage in an interview of Mathieu van der Poel for Belgian TV, is that he attacked on that. He was already, first of all, he said, I didn't feel great at the start. I told my team, we're not going to keep it together. Everybody can go in the breakaways. And then finally he started to feel better. There was a lot of attacks and he got into the rhythm. But when he went on the last climb, he saw, so first of all, Ballerini got dropped. Then those two other riders got dropped and he caught them and he got a gap and he thought he was going for first place. He said, it's so noisy, so confusing in the radio. And he only found out like 3-4 kilometers after he saw motorbikes too close and he said, oh, and then he saw these other two riders who finally he couldn't catch. So that was quite interesting. It shows how big the Tour de France is, right? How hectic everything is with the motorbikes, the cars, the people. Yeah. It's just crazy, and sometimes and I would guess also, Bradley, on those kind of roads when it was really split up, that and because the cars were never allowed in between, and when the peloton is so stretched up, the car is too far behind also, and the radio doesn't really reach to where the riders are, right?
Yeah. And we saw the crowds again today, and sometimes it's so difficult to hear a lot of the time as well, and hear the radio, and the old motorbike with the board would tell you how many seconds you are down. That it's not always present, and it's not always you don't always see it, and you're not always looking for it either. Yeah. But as it worked out, it was another great stage, and Mathieu van der Poel yet again. The tour he's had up to this point. He wasn't far off of winning today. No, and that was after again a few days ago where he had that whole solo the break with his teammate all day in front.
Bradley, it was almost again the same like Amstel Gold Race. Remember when he won Amstel Gold Race?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It was the same scenario,
Yeah.
Listen, it's he's unique. I think to be able to pull that off after that raid that he did with Jonas Ricard, which finally, I found out finally was not a coincidence. They planned it the day before that other stage. They joked about it at the dinner table and they said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And that message I sent in the group chat is actually a message that Mathieu sent to Freddie Ovid, who's his training partner in Spain.
Yeah, Fred.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, what we also saw was with around between 65 and 70K to go, all of a sudden there was a split in the peloton.
Yes.
And Vingegaard was in the front. I think Wout van Aert was in the front. And initially, Remco and Tadej were not there.
Yeah,
which was
they'd stopped for a wee though, hadn't they?
Yeah,
from what I understand.
I also read that then afterwards. So basically, it looked like it was Groupama FTG of your old team boss Marc Madiot.
Yeah.
I don't know if they, whatever. At some point, I'm just guessing, right? But at some point, you see these kind of moves also, and I would guess, especially from a French team, they're looking, they need to do something, right? And they already see that they don't have the level. They don't have the level. They know they're not going to win a stage if they don't have a portion of good luck, right?
Yeah.
And then they say, okay, well, you know what? There's no more rules in motorcycling. Just go. And it could have been that was the case, because normally when some of the big guys stop for a piss, then they don't. The rules have changed, I guess.
They have changed a lot. It was the unwritten rule in cycling, wasn't it, that when the yellow jersey stops, that in some ways you would always use that. We did in 2012. We would use that to our advantage, so when the race was attacking, and they would finally get a group would go away and it was hovering at 15, 20 seconds. And just to stop those more people attacking, you would go to the front and pull over. So everyone would see you'd stopped. And that would normally neutralize the race. But obviously those days seem to have long gone.
Gone. Yeah, over. Yeah. But still, okay, Groupama does this. And then you see Yonas and and Wout, and then there was I think there was two other Visma Lease bike bridging up, and they started to pull. I mean, I don't know where are they going. I mean,
I'm not too sure. Again,
they're not going to go anywhere.
No. And then that was true. You know, that was what happened a few times there. Yonas was in a position where he, tried to maximize, his advantage on that particularly when he was on that group there, and he went off the front a little bit. And then the attack on the main climb, where it was a great attack. He really came from sort of 10, 15 riders back on the right-hand side of the road, and Tadej was sort of on the left. So he caught Tadej by surprise, but and it looked like a good move. But then as it was over a helicopter shot, and then he went through the summit of the climb and then backed off, and then the group came up to him again. So it was a strange one, because from the overhead shot, you couldn't see that they were approaching the summit. So it looked like a great attack, that was halfway up the climb, whatever. But, that one, I couldn't really work out what he was thinking there. But I mean,
maybe he wants to test the legs.
I mean, aside from anything, look, Jonas, this is, as much as we keep saying this is a different Tadej that we've never seen before in terms of his demeanor and, the way he is on the bike. This is a different Jonas as well. This is a Jonas that is not settling for second place. And one thing you can say about Visma, they're here to win the race. And that's one thing you can say about it. They're not here. We might criticize their tactics at times, but I think, we'll have a better idea. Tomorrow is the true stage of the Tour de France now. I think this is where we're going to see if they are to try something, it would have to be on the Soulor tomorrow, I think.
Yeah. Well, before we go into that, let's talk about our other sponsor, Ketone IQ.
Ketone IQ, yes. Ketone IQ, classic shot, high performance energy. 10 grams of ketones, a clean shot of energy with no sugar or caffeine. And there was also the Ketone IQ plus caffeine, 5 grams of ketones and 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea. A 2-stage energy shot with caffeine in to get you going, and ketones for longer, sustained mental energy. Boosts athletic performance in a placebo-controlled study with trained athletes. Ketone IQ boosted average sprint power by 19%, peak power by 13%, and cut fatigue by 10%, and spiked blood ketones 5 times in just 20 minutes. Faster recovery. Ketone IQ recently teamed up with Team Visma Lease bike at the Catholic University Leuven to explore recovery and high-altitude adaptation. Their findings: improved blood flow and higher muscle oxygenation for better endurance and stamina. Take your shot. Get 30% off your subscription plus a free gift with your second shipment at ketone.com/the move. That's ketone.com/the move. Now, I've been taking these ketones, Johan. This is my go-to. It's the peach one, which I like the flavor of. No caffeine. I'd take the one without caffeine. I don't have one now.
And what is it, 5 grams or 10 grams?
5. I'll go for the 5. I take 2 a day. 2 a day.
Yeah, well, we see it all the time, whatever. I mean, the teams that are sponsored by Ketone IQ, like Visma, straight after the finish, we see them. Other brands, I mean, I think it's standard routine now. It's straight after the finish. It's a shot of ketones for the recovery. Let's talk about these two guys, Abrahamson and Maro Schmidt. After having given everything, and having held off these 5 riders with Van der Poel and Van Aert, finally they make it to the finish. Abrahamson wins the sprint. Second professional winner only after the Brussels Classics, which formerly known as Paris.
That was Paris-Brussels, wasn't it? Which was a huge race at one time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Back in the day, it was a huge race. Yeah.
And it was nearly 300 kilometers, wasn't it?
It was very long.
I used to love that race because, there was a few races that I loved, and that was one of them. That Schelde Price, because they were easy to finish.
Yeah. Another one like those, was Paris Tour.
Paris Tour, yeah.
Paris Tour was the same, it was also, I mean, it was at the end of the season, but it was an easy race to finish. That's true.
It saved you having to go out and do 250-kilometer rides.
Exactly. Yeah. But in the case of Abrahamson, there's something that he said in an interview on the move. I think you guys didn't talk about it, but what's really unbelievable is that 4 weeks ago, so the Tour de France is already a week and a half through. So 4 weeks ago, this guy crashed in stage 1 in the Tour of Belgium and broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
He had surgery the day after. 2 days later, he was on the home trainer. And 2.5 weeks after his crash, he started the Tour de France. A week and a half later, he wins a stage. How unbelievable is that?
That's I couldn't believe it when you told me that.
Yeah.
But because I broke my collarbone. We all broke our collarbone, and that is an incredibly fast recovery. I mean, not only starting the Tour de France 2.5 weeks after the accident. I mean, you know how this first week has been in terms of crashes. The risk of crashing again.
Yeah, it is a risk.
But to stay upright, and not only that, the trauma effect on your body from having a fall like that. And I've seen the crash. You showed me it before, and it was a heavy fall.
Yeah, it was really bad.
So to do what he's done and be in the break today and win a stage, I mean, that's quite incredible. In fact, that's probably one of the best comebacks from a broken collarbone I've seen.
It's extraordinary. I mean, on top of the crash, but also having surgery.
Yeah.
You need a week to recover from that, like your body, right? And 2 days after, he was on the home trainer in the hospital.
Really?
After this, he posted. I remember he posted it on his Instagram. I couldn't find the video, but I said, "What is he really thinking that he's going to do the tour?" I said, "There's no way he can do the tour."
Yeah,
and there he is. There's another well-known fact about Yonas Abrahamson is that this is a very unique. This is the rider who, I mean, he did a big interview about this, I think 3 years ago. He was a climber. I think he was weighing like just under 60 kilos, 58 kilos or something. We have this picture here to compare. And he decided that since as a climber, he didn't have enough opportunities to be with the best, he decided to gain weight and power to be a puncher and a breakaway rider. And if you look at these two different riders, this is the same rider, 58 kilos and 78 kilos, 20 kilos he gained, 20 kilos. That's also unreal. I mean, I've never heard of anything like that.
No. I mean, normally you hear of riders that lose weight and increase their performance, but to have the confidence, or whatever, maybe it wasn't, but to think to go the other way and gain that amount of weight, because that is a lot of weight in modern day cycling to be carrying around.
Yeah.
But it served him well. We saw him last year in the Tour de France in a number of breakaways, held the King of the Mountains jersey for a couple of days. And that's paid dividends. He's got his stage win this year. So, it's completely transformed him as a rider, that weight gain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now I can understand. I mean, the way he had, this must be a hard head. I mean, like to do what he did after that collarbone, I can kind of, this guy put it in his mind, he said, okay, I'm not going to be good enough as a climber. I need to be a puncher. This is the weight. And then you need to be able to train and have the power to do that. But whenever he's in a breakaway, man, he's the engine. He's the engine of the breakaway, always. And I actually didn't know he was that fast.
No. I mean, it was a bit of a drag race, that sprint, wasn't it? I knew nothing about Maro Schmidt. I had no idea. He's won quite a few races, though, hasn't he, Schmidt?
Yeah, and he can win from a little group, So I mean, he didn't necessarily do the smartest move by leading it out, but I think he underestimated Abrahamson.
I think he was also. I think they were quite aware and fearful of Mathieu coming at quite a speed behind.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a, who had the most bottle, and Abramson played it best.
For sure. But Abrahamson in his interview said that he was confident in his sprint.
Yeah.
He knows that if it's a hard race, I mean, and both of them have done exactly the same amount of energy. They both attacked together from kilometer zero. So I mean, that was something. Let's see. Tomorrow's stage, we're going to talk about this. First, we're going to talk about our daily Ventm Trivia. As every day, Ventum lets you enter the contest. At the end of the Tour de France, we will pull out the winner of the contest for the grand prize of $5,000 of store credit for any Ventum bike you want to purchase on the website. yesterday's stage was yesterday's question was who was the last Frenchman to win on Bastille Day? I think, Bradley, in the move, it was not the correct answer that was given. It was Warren Barguil in 2017.
17.
So not Thibaut Pinot, 2019, but Warren Barguil or Barguil, 2017. That seems like ages ago. Wow. I mean, it is 8 years ago. Wow. And Warren Barguil is still in the race, by the way.
Yeah.
Riding for a picnic, picnic post NL.
Yeah.
Today's question. Stage 11 started and ended in the city of Toulouse. What historical significance does Toulouse hold in the Tour de France? So what historical significance does Toulouse hold in the Tour de France? You can pick two answers. So send your best guess, or if you know the correct answer, to ventumracing.com/themove to enter in the contest. If you don't want to wait until the end of the tour, Ventum is also offering during the tour, until the end of the tour, a standing discount on their website. You get 10% off the whole site using the code THEMOVE10, and 20% off if you want to buy an NS1 bike, the bike that you're riding, Bradley, with the code NS120. Okay, tomorrow stage. For the third time, I'm going to say tomorrow the real tour starts. We said that after the time trial. We said it after stage 10, but I think tomorrow it's the real deal.
Yeah. Tomorrow's where we get to see Yonas in his element, and really see what he has against Tadej Pogačar and what Visma have as a team in the high mountains. Because, the strength that they have with Sepp Kuss, Matteo Jorgensen, Simon Yates, those three guys are going to be key tomorrow on the type of climbs that we've got tomorrow. And then, of course, we've got Wout van Aert, who's into the second part of the Grand Tour where we know he shines. And then they've got a couple of other riders around that. But those four guys are going to be key tomorrow. And those four guys alone are stronger than what Tadej has around him at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Tadej, they look like they're grabbing at straws at the moment since Almeida went. The young Ecuadorian's done a great job, I think. He's risen his game. Adam Yates is, a real constant figure around him. But other than that, they're really scraping for teammates at the moment. And Tadej, we've said, Tadej doesn't really need teammates at times, but everyone needs teammates, no matter how good you are.
You do need a teammate.
And Tadej crashing today as well. We don't know what the effects of that are going to be tomorrow. But
for me, that's the main
hard day to find out for him.
For me, that's the main concern. Yeah. That's the main concern. After a crash, he said, I'm fine. The day after, you're not fine. You're not fine. No. There is something going on into your body. That was
it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's going
to be interesting because,
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's going to be interesting tomorrow. The talk about whether Visma should have profited today from Tadej's fall. Tomorrow's where there's all bets are off. And they could do what they like. It's a fresh start tomorrow, and I think that they're gonna make it hard on the Souleur, and it could be a very interesting one tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go to the talk called the Souleur, so I'll watch it live. I'll send you guys some little videos from there, and then I hope I make it on time for our show. Maybe you have to wait for 15-20 minutes if I'm late. Yeah, but I think tomorrow we'll finally see if what all this talk about. On one side and the other hand, on the other side, Otakam is an amazing climb. So, going to be interesting. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks, Bradley. Speak soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Johan. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.